Hello and welcome to another episode of Drop Frames. This week we are joined by the one and only Zizaran with a brand new haircut and no dyed hair.
Ooh.
What's going on here?
Yep.
Ziz, is this new year, new me? What's happening?
New league, new me.
New league. Oh,
Yeah, that's it. That's it,
better.
right?
Hold on, guys. We got to redo the intro. Let's redo it all. Oh, that's the wrong thing. That's Chris's photo. Shit. What's going on, Ziz? How you been?
Amazing. No, I just kind of been lazy with dyeing my hair. Like, I like doing it for events, like conventions, because then it's easy for people to spot me.
Oh.
It's like the Sims diamond.
Yeah. Literally, people can see me from anywhere with brown hair. It's like, yeah. And now I'm like
You're
doing a
just one of
JP
us.
cosplay.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe like me, like 10 years ago, 50 less pounds and a little more hair. You might be there. Maybe.
I don't know. It's kind of weird doing something to like differentiate yourself on your head at cons. It's
That is a little strange. Yeah, I agree. Ow. How long you? My chair is broken. I'm just going to address this now because it will happen several times. The chair is broken right here. So every once in a while, if I lean forward, it just hits me in the back.
I'm sorry. Real quick. I'm getting this question a lot in chat.
Okay.
No, we don't have two guests on today. That's actually Zeke in the top right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Zeke.
Yes. Hello. My name is Ezekiel III. You might not recognize me. I would like to introduce you to my chins as well. I'd like to introduce you to chin 1, chin 2, chin 3. Man, you haven't seen them in a minute, but they are still there. They're still hanging out.
It's true. It's all true. It
Yeah,
happens.
I
Stop
shaved.
core.
It's so strange. Like, I'm sure you get this with your, normal looking hair now. Like, people will come into your channel and be like, "What happened to your face?"
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I shaved. Like,
I get that a lot.
Yeah.
I get that a lot. A lot of people are like, "Where's the blue hair? I miss the blue hair."
thanks. That's helpful.
And on a completely unrelated note, do you know how to unfollow a channel on Twitch? I'm not.
Okay,
a button somewhere?
that hurt.
Oh, I got that for the beanie all the time. When I
really?
moved and it was too hot. Oh yeah, when I moved and my office was too hot to wear a beanie for a long time. So many people are like, "Oh man, where's the beanie? I really like that about you." Well, anyway, just send me a PM or something if you put it back on.
Weird.
It's like, oh,
Strange. That one seems weirder to me than the hair thing. Because, like, not wearing it, no one really wears a beanie 100% of the time, right? Like,
it's a comfort beanie.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like a stress beanie, an anxiety
It's their
beanie.
snuggle blanket. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a weighted
It's
beanie.
woven into your genetics. Like, your kid came out with a beanie on, like, like all your kids.
Yeah.
Oh man. So, quick question: Do you? I just want to know, because you guys are giving me your honest opinion.
Sure.
Do I look any different age wise?
Younger.
I'd say younger. Yeah.
Younger.
You look
Okay,
younger.
Okay.
Yeah, you absolutely look younger.
Is that what you were going for? Is that the answer you wanted? Or
didn't
just you
necessarily
just
want
wanted
an answer.
You just wanted an answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to see, like, because my chat is not touted for their honesty all the time, so they'll just say shit that'll be like, "That's a funny thing. I'm gonna say that." So I know you guys will give me this straight dope. So
on that note, though, like while we're talking about Moors, you look more young, but somehow you also look more homeless. Not sure how you do like both at the same time.
Oh my
it's
God.
no, it's because my beard grows in kind of homelessy, like right at the start, and then it fills in. Like it'll come in like little places on my face will say like, "I will do things for change."
There it is.
For pocket change, and then eventually it'll become like an actually like nice kempt full beard.
Yeah.
But
no, Chad, I'm not being mean to him.
Beard.
I know Zeke. If you say something nice about him, you have to balance it out. He doesn't work well with too much of, either. So we have to like.
I don't trust it, honestly. If you're too nice to me, I find you suspect. That's why Canadians I don't get along very well.
Zeke, speaking of Canadians, someone in my chat actually goes, "You look very much like Sips." They said Sips on Drop Frames, and then did the Pog emote. You look a little Sipsy.
A little bit. There's a little sips
Okay.
in there.
Yeah,
a little sips.
Yeah.
I think it's the 5 o'clock shadow in the hair.
Yeah.
Like
It's I'm about to say something that, if it's not true, might be really rude. Is Sips bald?
I think it was supposed to cap.
I don't want to say he's bald. I don't think he's bald.
I don't think he's bald.
I think I maybe an ing somewhere in there, but
I mean, we all
I
are.
think he's bald.
Unless-
yeah, we all are.
Unless you're Ziz, apparently, who's just got
I
a
should be
great.
bald 2 years ago. I just didn't want to take the beanie off. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Good 5 years.
I don't know. Anyways, speaking of unfollowing accounts, Twitch support, right as the show went live, put out some fun tweets. Which,
Really?
yeah, will if you've looked at your follower count at all on Sunday, there was a massive decrease on mine. I lost about 1,000 in a day.
Oh, 9,000.
Yeah, it says we have been monitoring the rise of engagement on Twitch and have identified 7.5 million plus accounts that break our toss by following botting and view botting. By follow botting and view botting. We are taking action on these accounts and appreciate all the reports about this issue. Majority of these accounts were detected through ongoing machine learning technology that will continue to improve and will continue to operate going forward. We engage in enforcement when necessary, including pursuing legal action. As a result of these removals, you may see sudden decreases in your follower and viewer count over the coming days. If you believe that you were follower or view botted, please check out our help article.
That's why I had 11 viewers this morning. Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
It's
Yeah.
actually crazy. I saw like several streamers lost as many as like 2 million followers.
Really?
It's crazy. Yeah.
Whoa!
Jeez. Okay.
Damn, dude.
That's damn.
I guess I wasn't popular enough. I've never been popular enough to be fucking follow botted. I feel like I've been left out. Like I didn't lose any.
Yeah, I lost 1,000 on Sunday, and that's it. But for the first time in 15 months, I gained 1,000 this past 3 months. So that's probably why.
I've been really speaking of following.
I feel like there's a sad
followers,
trombone in there somewhere.
Well, for me, it's just normalization. Right? It's like, yes, back to normalcy.
Oh no.
So,
Well, speaking of follows, like I've been pushing my follows lately because I am like 1,201, or excuse me, 1,021, 1021 away from 200K, and I've just been like, can we just get there? I've been like just shy of 200K for like 5 years. Can we just please just follow me and
There you go.
just I don't like to beg, but I'll beg you.
click on Zeke's face right now to follow
Oh,
him.
don't follow
And I-
me though. 'Cause I don't want that anymore.
I will counter beg you to please unfollow him
Oof.
because it's good when he has goals. No, it's good. It's better when you have goals.
How-
You work harder.
Oof.
How many
all-
times do I have to tell you this, Co? Your people are sheep. They do whatever you say.
This is true.
Apparently, somebody just looked me up on Social Blade, and apparently I lost like 9K as well, like with Ziz. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
my
really?
lord, man. Yeah, there you go.
Actually, I won.
Basically
one
a
time
dead
got,
channel.
I'm
I
not,
one time got follow botted for like 50, 60K followers, and I had to like use like a tool to like remove them. They all followed on the same second, so it's easy to just delete them.
jeez. I'm looking at some of the other bigger channels. Summit lost 12,000 on Sunday. Ludwig did not lose any on Sunday. He gained about 30,000 a day. So good.
I was
for him.
going to say, like, if he lost any, then you wouldn't know because
Yeah.
of the last thing he did. Yeah.
Yeah. Lyric lost $4,000. Who else? Like, who are some of the other?
Whoa.
Soda
Hold on.
Poppin'.
Check Soda Poppin'? Somebody
Yeah.
said Soda Poppin' lost 2 million? I don't know if that's right. I don't know if that's right. Did he?
Yeah. Pokemon lost 22,000. Soda Poppin'. Holy shit. Yeah. Sunday lost 70,000. Monday lost 1.5 million. Tuesday was 900,000. And today so far is about 600,000.
But wait a second. But
PC as well.
he's at obscene numbers anyway, right? Like what after 1.5 million? What's he at now?
He's at 3.4 million at the moment.
Yeah.
But-
Okay. So that probably just means somebody like used his channel as a test or
Yeah.
something for their bot and
100%.
Let me do details statistics because I think it will show more time here. Yeah, so on April 1st, he gained 250,000 followers. I don't know if he had a big stream that it doesn't, his video views are not any different than the other days. So I feel like someone in his audience was just fucking with him. So yeah.
Blaze says, why are bots following popular channels? A lot of times because they're just testing stuff. Like the people that make these things will probably just use big channels, so they won't like if you do it on a small channel, obviously they'd immediately know what's happening
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
start
yeah.
freaking out about it. But the bigger the channel, the less they probably like actively follow their follower count, so they can just test with them.
Shroud
I've been getting a
lost-
lot of bot attacks lately. I don't know if that
Really?
may be related, maybe unrelated. Yeah, a lot of accounts coming in, and they'll sit in there. The followers are spiked. They'll sit in there, and then all of a sudden they'll just start spamming chat with a link to another Twitch thing. It's just like,
Interesting.
okay.
Shroud lost 260,000 on Sunday and Monday. We'll do one last one. Let's do XQC, potentially arguably the biggest streamer on Twitch. And someone crashed social. Who linked Social Blade? Who linked it?
Oh,
Who was it?
Solely
Holy-
no works instead.
He's got a lot as well. Sunday was 16, Monday was 1.3, Tuesday was 800,000, and today so far is 400,000. So, yeah,
It really sucks when you do get follow botted because it like kind of takes away a little bit from the feeling of like hitting milestones. It happened for me right after hitting 250K, which I was really hyped about.
yeah.
And then I was like, great, now I'm on 316. Like, do I still get to celebrate 300K when I get back there? It's like,
Yeah, do you celebrate it again? I don't know. It is a
Yeah.
little bit weird for sure. It also further pushes the idea that like followers don't matter that much anymore. I mean, they're not even forward facing on Twitch. It like takes you have to, I don't even know where to see follower count if you go to like twitch.tv/ourpages.
oh, I was looking at that earlier.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know where it is anymore.
I don't, they've like hid that number. Like most people, I think, just go to Social Blade. So,
Yeah.
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 Anyways, that's out there. Twitch is out there tweeting about that stuff. So I'm sure we'll see some other big losses across the board if Soda's out there losing like 3 million or 2 million. That's kind of absurd. Anyways, let's talk about the PoE. We'll just jump into the PoE stuff here at the top of the show. And then maybe some Diablo 2 remastered a little bit after than the normal news. So they showed both the new league, which comes out on Friday, which we'll jump into maybe in the second half or towards the latter half of the show. But the big stuff, I think, was the PoE 2 video that they showed, which also was funny because that came out the same day as the Diablo 2 did for streamers, which classic Blizzard, of course, releasing a product the same day as a person or a company in their same, game type. But if anything, I think it kind of hurt Blizzard because it got all these people watching Diablo, and then all of those people that were playing Diablo swapped over to watch the Path of Exile stuff. And they had like 100 or 200,000 maybe in the directory watching the big news. So,
Or in my case later, spent a lot of their PoE or their Diablo 2 time talking about PoE 2 and the PoE stuff
Really?
coming up.
Yep.
that's
It
good.
ended up being really, really good timing because it was like a nice like warm up. Like, oh, now I get to play like a few hours of Diablo and then I get to go watch the PoE announcement. So it was like perfect timing for me.
Yeah, it was great for me as well. I did the same thing. PoE 2, what do you think, Ziz? You're the hardcore veteran here. How are you feeling about PoE 2 and what we saw? Granted, this is Act 2. It's not in game, so it's really hard to judge if it's like actually going to be slower,
Yeah.
etc. But what do you think?
I mean, obviously, like in every trailer and every build showcase they do, they always like show things slower, right? Because a lot of people like trying the game for the first time, they're not going to be like zooming through the game, one hitting every enemy, right? We end up doing that anyway, and I do hope that there will be some sort of pullback on speed and stuff because, it will always keep going forward, right? So they do need to do some sort of like pullback or slowback at some point. But it looks amazing. Like they've obviously always like pretty much every league they do like incrementally increase the engine. They work on audio and everything. And if you look at like PoE, just like very, very clear thresholds between like 2013, 15, 17, 19. Like it's a very, very different game than it used to be.
Yeah.
So even though like PoE 2 doesn't necessarily, it doesn't have a new engine, but they are working on upgrading it over time very hard. And I think that shows like, look at this like boss fight here. This is like a whole other level than what we've done before.
Right. Yeah, and the HP
Especially
bar
with
at
the
the top.
falling in roof and stuff. Like that was that's such a cool feature. That's
Yeah.
big.
And that's gonna let them do some really cool endgame boss fights too.
This looks more Diablo than PoE ever has to me, in a lot of ways. Which,
especially the zoomed out camera.
Yes. Well, they said it wasn't zoomed out. They said it was a different like tilt on it. I think is what they said. So
that's
I
correct.
thought it was zoomed out as well.
Level of zoom,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
So they said
not
that
as
it's going
above
to
the character?
appear. Yeah, it's going to appear to players like better and look better, but you are actually just it's a different tilt basically.
I was blown away by
It
that too.
looks zoomed out,
Totally.
which is
Yep.
great because
It looks better.
I definitely was a little. So in other words, I guess they just lowered the angle, like in that must be so the normal PoE camera I guess is more on top. That's weird.
Yeah.
I would have sworn it was zoomed out. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Same. No,
Well, I gotta
it
say,
looks really
looking
great.
at this, who is this? You playing this?
No,
No,
this
this
is
is
their
Zach.
this
promotional video.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. I was gonna say, like, man, I'm having a much more fun time watching this because usually if I catch like people doing like a PoE or Diablo, there's like the map is like covering the screen. There's like it's just a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like this one, I was like, oh, I like it. It's very framed very well.
Yeah. Which I think that plays. Like, I don't think you're alone in that, Zika. I think the entirety of people that don't play PoE right now and are like pretty hardcore Diablo fans don't play for that very reason. PoE at the max level at the end game is listening to like some super high BPM trance or EDM and just running around the map at max speed and picking up an item every once in a while and then doing that again for like 10 plus hours, right? Like this is a lot more enjoyable for people that are looking for the like RPG aspect of an ARPG. Whereas I think like PoE at the max level is just like a farm or grind simulator in a lot of ways. And the stuff that they put here in the campaign looks awesome. It reminded me a lot of like the what is that Korean ARPG? Is that Lost Ark?
Lost Ark? Yeah, that's amazing.
I saw a lot of like Lost Ark, like with this thing moving in the background here. A lot of that was very present in this entire trailer. So it looks good. The other thing that they mentioned was that the UI is now rendered in 3D. They didn't mention it by name, but they said that there were some graphical improvements, and I think there's RTX running on it. Because if you look at the like health globes and the mana globes on the bottom, it's definitely reacting to the light occurring within the game, which looks really awesome. And it's subtle enough that like it makes a big change. So we'll see if they're going to add anything. Because we're still, this isn't coming out sometime this year. They said not 2021. They didn't commit to a date. So it could even, I think they're waiting for Diablo to like announce. Like, do you think GGG is going to do what Blizzard always does and take the same date as Diablo 4? Like, do they really want to go head to head?
I don't think they want to go head to head. No,
You don't think they do?
No. Because while PoE is like increasing and surging in popularity, it's still that like insane Blizzard fan base, right?
True.
And Blizzard is like, I would almost put large amount of money on that. Blizzard is going to bundle in Diablo 4 with the World of Warcraft sub, right? So they're going to get millions and millions of sales and people checking it out just for that. Like they did that for Diablo 3, and it's a very, very smart thing to do. Yeah. I think it was either if you bought 6 months or a year of World of Warcraft, you got Diablo 3 for free.
Huh. Okay. That was.
I don't know, man.
I strongly doubt they're gonna go head to head. My predictions has been PoE 2 either at the end of 22, like near Christmas, or early 23.
What were you asking, Co?
I was gonna say, like, I could see benefits for Path of Exile to release around Diablo. Funny enough, for the same reasons Ziz was saying, like Blizzard's fan base is so large that having another title that's free releasing around the same time, I think would raise a lot of eyebrows, especially from people who are like, maybe come to Twitch for Diablo 4, and then the streamers mentioning that, oh yeah, PoE 2 came out during this time, and it's also it's a free game, and stuff like the more that they can kind of feed into that, the better for PoE.
Yeah.
So if they don't do PoE 2 around Diablo 4, I'm guessing they'll at least do a league or something to get people talking about PoE around that time.
Yeah.
Which I think would definitely be to their benefit.
Yeah.
The free thing is pretty hard to beat.
Free is
especially
very
when it's
hard
quality.
To beat. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that might be like their big pitch, right? Like you could play Diablo 4 for $60, or you could jump into PoE and just click this button and download it. Like that's all you got to do.
There's good reasons both ways.
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see how they approach it.
Yeah, and that's I always harp on chat when it's like Diablo versus PoE, and then I get on a show and do that very same thing. And I think that's just because people like to pin video games and things that they like against other things that they like. And that's just how it goes.
Teamism, man.
Yeah.
Teamism.
I really I hate a little bit of that because like whenever I play a new game now, people are like, "Oh, is this the WoW killer? Is this the PoE killer?" And I'm like, "Why do games have to kill each other?" Like, and I feel games very rarely do. I feel like generally, if anything kills the game, it's most of the time a developer making poor choices, not like other games beating them out.
Yeah. Yeah, and the whole I still can't believe that the WoW killer is still a phrase. Like people have been saying that for 20 years. Like I remember that back in like 2005 when all these MMOs kept coming out.
Yeah, like Rift and Aeon and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was always the big thing. It was like, oh, it's just the WoW killer type deal. Yeah, Wild Star. There's another great one.
Yeah.
The quote WoW killer. That thing. Yeah, Wild Star. Jeez. So yeah, that's PoE 2. I thought it looked very good. I thought that the conversation around it was very good. I'm curious how many takes Chris does these in now. He's getting somehow Chris Wilson is getting better at his narration and his public speaking when I didn't think that was really possible. So good on him. They've definitely got a good front man for that. Even though he's not really like, I guess maybe in the balancing aspect, he's not really super hyper involved anymore. That kind of goes to Rory on the team, from what I can tell. But yeah, PoE 2 looking very good. I do think that whether they want to or not, I think that they're going to have to go head to head, and like that's going to be such a major conversation of like which one do I play, right? Like that's just going to be there. I think there's
Especially
nothing.
the Diablo 4 killer.
Especially if they can make it more accessible for new players. Like that's the main thing, right? Whereas like obviously we have like some things changing, like the socketing system is changing. You never have to like chase down like 6 things on every piece of gear anymore. So that's gonna help a lot of people make it more accessible.
Yeah.
What does that mean though?
Yeah, you want to
So
explain that a
right
little bit?
now, yeah. So right now, Path of Exile has a socket system. So if you find a chest piece or a glove or a helmet, that can have up to a certain amount of sockets. And the
Right.
higher the number, the more rare it is. So getting something that has 6 sockets where they are all linked is really, really rare. They're like
Mhm.
doing away with that entire system as PoE 2, and removing fusings entirely from the game. So that's like an orb that lets you fuse items, right?
Right.
That's
I've
going
heard
away
horror stories
completely.
from JP.
Yeah. And that's going away entirely, and they're kind of transferring parts of it to the gems. So the gems are going to have sockets built into them instead. And they basically said that it was going to be just probably like 5 to 10 times more likely to be able to get like 1 6-socketed gem. And then getting like your entire, like every gem with a large amount of sockets would be hard, but it should be
So
a lot
your
more
equipment-
accessible.
Your equipment will no longer have sockets at all. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So that
Oh,
so
okay,
if you
wow,
find
okay.
something on the ground and it's an upgrade, you can just put that on.
Yeah.
Right, and that's huge.
That's very big.
They will still have their own attributes and stuff, though, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They're basically
you
just
still
moving a
like
system
want
to
to
an ease of
find
use area.
you want to find a like the drops still matter as far as like the RNG of what their stats are.
Yeah, they even matter more now in a way, right? Because now,
okay.
like sometimes before, you'd be like, oh yeah, this is a bit of an upgrade, but I can't afford to link it.
Gotcha. Is that a good? That's a generally like regarded as a good change.
It's different.
Most people like it. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm probably one of the very few that don't.
Well, I mean, that's because when you try to 6-link an item, you just get in like 5 fusings and move on about your day. Other people,
No, I don't.
normal
I don't.
people,
I've used thousands. Okay, I had one that required 7,000 almost.
thousands. Yeah.
It's just for me, that was one of like my early treasured memories of Path of Exile, because whenever I like got my first 6-link, that was such a special moment.
True.
And I really treasured those moments in games. Obviously, like I have the luxury to do that because I play games so much. So it obviously like impacts me a lot less in that way than somebody who plays a game casually. But when you do
it
play
something
Thousand of Iris,
What?
Continue. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
oh, it was like whenever you do play Thousands of Hours, you start sort of like treasuring and chasing down those moments that you feel like give you that like burst of adrenaline or burst of happiness. Like, oh, I finally got it.
do you find that your community, like, do you do those like quote unquote gambling fusings, like when you're like doing it over and over and over and over again, like trying to
Oh,
get the
right.
link
mean,
and
the
stuff? Does your
predictions.
community like get into that? Is that like a thing? Like, well, I mean, because I can only relate it to like when I play blackjack. Like some people absolutely love like the gambling when I do it on stream and stuff.
Yeah. No, people do like it. I mean, I can do like channel predictions. Like, I'm going to use 1,000 fusings. Am I going to get a 16? Yes or no? And people will bet on that in the channel too. So people do like that aspect of it. It's just something that, and why a lot of players don't like it is sometimes you could end up getting really unlucky and using several thousand fusings and not getting a 16, and then you just feel really, really punished, especially if you're not playing 10, 12 hours a day.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. It's a system for the hardcore in a lot of ways, right? Like
Yep.
it's a system that rewards playing it for 10 plus hours a day. And
100%.
I do wonder like what percentage base of the player, because I know people play a lot of PoE. I could see that on stream chats everywhere and how many people gloat about their hours, right? But I do wonder what percentage of people have ever even seen a 6-link, right? Like how many people have ever actually 6-linked an item? That's got to be
True.
a small percentage or a smaller percentage. I wonder how many people
do you
even
know
got the maps. Like I've never seen that stat.
Yeah.
I wonder what that's like. Yeah. What were we going to ask?
Do you know the actual odds for like
16?
getting the 6-link? Like,
Yeah. So you can guarantee it for 1,500 and take zero risk. And then there is the average chance with 20 quality is like around 1,200, and you can increase the quality, especially on rare items and in some ways on unique items. Like the best odds you can possibly get yourself, we say it's around like 900, maybe 900 on average.
you mean 1 in 900?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that getting the odds to 1 in 900 takes a decent amount of work for someone not playing 10 hours a day. If you are playing a lot, then you can just kind of come by that method pretty easily. But yeah. There's a lot. Like I don't think PoE would ever release those stats, but I would love to see those type of stats. Like how many people finish the campaign, how many people see red maps, how many people have ever killed Elder, or Shaper.
They do release some of those stats.
Really?
They do like sum ups of like how many people died to certain mechanics, and some of the stats are really, really cool. Let's see if I can find some for you later.
Is someone in chat just said 5% of Steam players have 6-linked an item? Is there an achievement for 6-linking an item?
There is.
Yes.
So I guess you could, at least via the Steam, that's not the entire player base because some people just use the PoE client. But
True, and also a thing with Steam though, with it being a free to play game, is that a large amount of people there's a large amount that haven't even killed Brutus, right? Like you're probably not considered a PoE player at that point, right? Because it's in the first like 20 minutes.
Yeah. I guess that is true.
That is interesting. I wonder what Steam dictates as being like a player of the game. Maybe you have to earn at least one achievement before you're counted or something.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
When you said,
I think that's probably it.
When you said you could guarantee it for 1,500, does that? What's the difference between that and like gambling? Trying to do it like the
So literally like for 1,500 you can 100% guarantee it. But since the odds are always in your favor, like in some way, when you have like quality on the item, which increases the chance, most people that play for a large amount of times will go for the gamble because like sometimes you will hit it in 1, sometimes you will hit it in 100. And it just means that it's really, really punishing when you do hit it in 3,000. Like, I think the most I've ever seen somebody actively count it and keep track of how many they've used, the highest number I've seen is over 8,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I had like 2,700 or so.
That's the thing, man. Like, just because you flipped heads 50 times in a row doesn't make it more likely that tails is going to come up next time.
That's right.
It's very true.
That's right. And like the thing is as well, I really wish. True. I really wish like some of the stats were counted in game because sometimes it might feel like you're using 5,000 or 6,000, but you're only using like 2,000 or 1,000. It's very like easy to exaggerate these things.
It would be cool to see if they would count that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, or the option to count that, because for a new player, right? You don't want to remind that new player how many fucking fusings you've thrown onto a thing. But for someone that's experienced and like, it
Yeah.
would just be a cool stat, right? Like, or a streamer mode, right? To like
Yeah.
count how many times I've done X.
I can't remember exactly what game it was. It was either something like Dragon Age or Baldur's Gate or something, but they had some really cool stat pages for each of my characters where it was like most powerful enemy vanquished, most damage done in one hit, damage taken, and like I really love stats like that in games. That's
Yeah.
something in Path of Exile I would straight up like pay for it just to see.
PoE plus.
Yeah.
I don't know why they
I
don't
think
have
it's
a
really
sub program yet.
fascinating.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I agree 100%. I would love to see that stats, even if it's behind some sort of like $5 a month thing. Looking at that coming from what Dota has done with Dota Plus, having access to that information to make decisions is not necessarily a great Dota player, is still awesome. It's really cool to see that type of stuff. So the more data they can give us, the better. And maybe that's something they will be tracking in PoE too.
Maybe.
Who knows? Player base wise, community wise, what do you think's going to happen when PoE 2 comes out? Like, they've already said that, hey, look, it's Co-Carnage reacting and talking about the Path of Exile Ultimatum in PoE 2. Up next, there he is.
Hi. Turn it off.
What do you think's going to happen? Like, obviously they said the end games are both going to be the same, but do you think like, are the hardcore people going to always stick to one? Are they going to stick to the faster one? Are they going to stick to the one that would potentially reward better items? Are they even considering the like item balance between the two, the length of the two? Like, it's got to be a weird thing to develop, I would imagine.
So while it is called PoE 2, it is obviously like still the same game and just a massive expansion, right? That's like considered like a sort of relaunch. That's why they're calling it PoE 2, and they're gonna work on a lot of the things that people feel are issues.
Right.
As far as like, not everything is confirmed yet, and to the best of my knowledge, you can't ascend like old characters in the, or like, for example, Raider or Pathfinder and stuff. To the best of my knowledge, you're not going to be able to ascend a Pathfinder while doing the new campaign. So if you want to do the new ascendancies, you have to do the new campaign. If you want to do the old ascendancies, you have to do the old campaign. So I think there's still going to be a place for both, and I hope they'll like polish a little bit on the old one too. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the old one get completely phased out over time. And the thing that I'm personally, as somebody who plays it this much, not that excited about the campaign itself, because that's something I'm going to run through realistically in probably the same amount of time that I do the PoE 1 campaign in, right? Especially over time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to offer so much more things that they can repurpose for the end game, because that's like the current end game is like a lot of it is repurposed, right? So there's so many cool things. Like look at that like thing with the log or whatever. There's so many more enemies, so many new skills, just so much new stuff. So I'm very excited for that. And if anything, I think it's just going to bring just an insane amount of more people to Path of Exile.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. Once like PoE 2 campaign has been run through by the hardcore community 2 or 3 times, if they default back to the old stuff, if they like nerf the old stuff in a way that makes you want to play the new stuff, like if they'll go that route, or put like new shiny stuff in the new stuff to make you want to go that route, because it's all free, right? Like the end of the day, it's still a free game. So they're the way that they make money off of you is by saying, hey, here's a stash that you can get, maybe.
Yeah.
Or here's some cool looking armor. Or if you want your skill to look like this, maybe you can grab that for X dollars, right? So I wonder how they'll handle all of that. They've already said the MTX will come over regardless. All that stuff is going to port over to Path of Exile 2, which was both for me and anyone that's ever spent money in this game a giant sigh of relief.
That's super cool.
Imagine if they didn't. Oh my god, that'd be in shambles.
It's so much money.
That'd be in shambles.
Yeah. And I think they, like, in a lot of ways, they had to do that, right? Like, the community would, with how vocal this community can be over fucking, like, crafting changes. I can't imagine what would happen if, like, money got involved in that. Yeah, it would be a big deal. So,
It
Good
would
on
be a
them for
bad.
doing it. It makes sense why they did it.
1150 guaranteed, or a random chance, or 599 to 6 link your gems.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, realistically, though, PoE is sort of a better version of the buy to play model because it's pretty painful to play PoE without spending like $20 to $30 on stash tabs, but you do get to like literally try everything for free.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's how they get you, right? Is you start to realize how much greener the grass is on the other side of the fence with those
Get
tabs.
that little tiny taste.
Yeah. It's a big deal. So we'll see. The community's response to all of that will be fairly interesting. And also, I mean, who knows with how fast like the gaming landscape is changing year to year these days. If this comes out at the end of 2022, who knows what the rest of the place is going to look like, right?
True.
Who could really say?
I gotta say, man, like not only is this game like going to be exciting, but we were talking a little bit about this before the show. Like the help system in the 3.0 was a big step forward, but they are like so few steps from making this game like fully accessible to new players. And I really hope for PoE 2 that they're thinking about that. There's so many folks that are like, I want to try Path of Exile, but it's just way too daunting.
Yep.
And like I was saying, if this game comes out in over a year or something, there's one thing I would say to the GGG devs. You guys need to basically make it so we can put in a little link and put a path of building style system into the game. So that when you go to the official forums and you find a build you like, you get a link. Then you open up PoE 2 and you stick that link on your passive tree. And then you have a little drop down, levels 1 to 10, 10 to 20, 10 to 30, all that kind of thing. And then it just lights up the nodes that you should select. Like bring all the path of building into PoE 2.
Yep.
And I think that if they did that, they could give like some super basic starter builds. And it's like, oh, you're just starting the game? You don't have friends to explain all this to you? Well, here, try this build. This is a build that'll get you going. You can learn the game with this. You can learn how to use our systems. And then they can just go, oh, people are saying they already have that in the China client?
Yeah, it's been in the Chinese client for a while, which is a big point
good?
of contention. It's not bad. It's better than nothing.
They do have a little bit of something like that, but it's not very polished.
Yeah.
They have some extra things on the China client.
Well,
anyway, I think that'd be huge. I think that'd be so cool if they were to do that. Then it would be so easy. Think for streamers. Oh, hey, you want to play PoE? Go download it for free. Here's a link to my build. Stick this in there, and you can not only watch us play the build, but you can actually like have it all right in front of you too. Like that is such a cool concept.
Yeah, and GG knows how involved their community is when it comes to like build makers on the forums and on YouTube.
Look at Path
and
of Building.
Streamers. Yeah, like
they made their own app.
Yeah.
Like they made an entire third-party app to do this, and it's like a near necessity if you want to do it properly. So yeah, oh man,
I agree 100%. If they utilize the folks like Ziz, Mathel, any of the big YouTubers and streamers, and even the forum guides, they put that stuff in game. They're sitting on a gold mine, right? Like that. It's crazy.
And I mean, I think Ko really put it in a good way, because when you start playing Path of Exile, you might have like looked into streamers, looked a little bit more of the game, and it just seems so overwhelming. And you feel like you maybe instantly feel pressure to learn all of these mechanics. Whereas obviously you can just learn as you go, right? It isn't that overwhelming in the start, but it might feel like it.
Yeah. Well, pressing
the
P.
biggest,
I would
the biggest
actually-
thing. No, well, the biggest thing
Bro.
is that people think, and I said this on stream once. People feel a lot of times that PoE is like a course at school, where there's a billion different mechanics and you have to learn them all to pass the test and play properly. But what people don't understand is like what Ziz just said. Like, to actually play the game, you need to know a fraction of those mechanics. Like, to have fun in the game, you only need to know like that one core little bit. And then once you kind of get that down, everything else is just flavor. Everything else is just cool stuff to learn and explore. It's not like I need to know this to play properly, which is, I feel like the Reputation is kind of like that. They take one look at the passive tree and they go, "Oh, I need to understand all of this to play this game."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
That!
Exactly.
like, I don't have time for this. I don't need to go to school to learn how to play. But that's the thing. If you have a guide, you don't need to know literally any of it. I've played this game 800 plus hours, and I could probably point to like 2 keystones offhand and know exactly what they do and where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need to know that stuff. So yeah,
And
it's
I
wild.
think in turn though, that is the true beauty of Path of Exile, and what makes it such a especially a good main game. Because whenever you play other games, how often do they realistically get updates, right? Like there's so many games that you end up kind of like maybe you really love it, but it gets kind of stale with no updates for every like 6 months, a year, 2 years. Whereas PoE, you get a huge expansion pretty much every 3 months.
Like clockwork.
And in which in some cases change how parts of the game are played. Like it's a
Yep.
serious it's PoE, Destiny, Warframe, like actual live service games that work and that actually live up to the definition of it. Where so many games have tried and failed, like they keep delivering. So yeah,
It's so good.
Zeke, do you remember what you were going to say? I know you were wanting to jump in there about the new
Yeah,
player
I thought,
experience.
it was just a dumb little thing. Like it might convince me to play if like someone I knew or something like that had like they hired you to put you in the game and it would like just pop you up like, hey, this here. See, you picked up a hammer.
we could call him Zizzy, and he could pop up. You can make a little plugin called Zizzy, and it's just it's an overlay like PoE trade. And hey there, I noticed you didn't have a gem in one of your sockets.
You got to make
let's
this now,
talk,
Ziz.
let's talk about what you could
Hi
do
there. Hi there. I see that you've been standing still in your hideout for a whole minute. Shouldn't you get back to mapping?
You're thinking too much. Go get items. You need currency to do whatever you want to do. Stop doing that. Yeah. That'd be good.
Well, and something like this,
I noticed your melee.
I would appreciate. I would appreciate something like it doesn't have to be that obviously, but it'd be hilarious. But I would appreciate like something popping up and be like, "Hey, don't stress out about that right now. You'll need to know later down the road, but for now, you can just kind of put that to the side, you know?
Whoa.
Shit like that.
Yeah.
Hold up. Imagine if they introduced a tutorial mode that like only unlocked mechanics the further you got through it. So you could play like a pro and get everything at once like normal, or you could get like a different mode where it's like only. Well, wait a second. I guess they kind of introduced things that we act already, don't they? Sort of.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
It's still a lot, though.
It's still a lot. Yeah, I was gonna say even if they did that, it would still be a lot.
Yeah. Press P to look at your skills, and then you press P, and it's like God fucking.
All we need,
again.
is one streamer to step up and do like a PoE class of some kind, and just like explain it in YouTube videos. I if someone would step up and do that,
If only
I think
someone
really
would do
help.
that.
Yeah.
That'd probably be good. You know, I think someone on the show might be a good candidate. Go, I nominate you.
Okay, I'll start making them today. I think that's a good. For those that don't know, Zizaran runs PoE University, and he has a lot of videos on how to do this. So you should definitely check them out. Do you have like a link to those or something? Do you like little URL or something?
Yeah,
Probably a good time to mention that for people that are actually interested in this stuff.
Yeah, good plug.
Sure. They're like, I think we haven't even made a playlist one because the last one's just finished. But it's like the most recent videos.
He'll
on my
be more.
YouTube.
He'll be more prepared next time, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah. Do you want me to link it anywhere?
Yeah, sure,
I think it just got linked to my chat. At least one of them did.
I know. I definitely noticed a few people in my chat asking questions about it, so mine would be a good place.
All right, sure. So the one I linked in Ko's chat is basically PoE 101, which is just like an intro. And it just like talks a little bit about the different things and what you actually need to know because the game is very overwhelming. And yeah, I dress up like a professor basically and just try to teach people the game. It's actually very, very challenging because when you know a game a lot and you like it's your life, it's very easy to take for granted. Like, what are new players struggling with? So actually, like sometimes I've asked my parents, like, what would you find difficult in a game? And like try to explain it to them and try to explain it to my girlfriend because she's not a gamer either. And because sometimes you need to. It's very, very easy to. I remember one of the first times I made a tutorial for Path of Exile, I was like using words like yellow and rare interchangeably, and people are like, "Are those the same thing? Are they not?" Because you take things like that very easily for granted.
Yeah,
interesting.
There's definitely a lot to go over for like a first-time ARPG player. I can only imagine that shit. It too much for sure.
Dude,
yeah, and
I'm sorry.
Next semester, sorry.
I don't mean to be like an asshole about this, but like bow tie. Come on, man. Come on, man. You got a whole outfit. Bow tie. Where is it?
Where's the ties?
I mean,
Do you know
Get a
what,
clip on,
Zeke?
man.
A bow tie
Zeke,
with a little
for
chaos
you,
sword
next
in the
time.
middle.
I will do one
There we
next
go.
time. I promise.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
It's
next
just
time
like
we're also gonna have exams and mock tests and stuff like that.
Here you go, Zeke. Why don't you do this?
just brings the look together.
Why don't you sponsor the bow tie and the PoE University for next season, and he'll give you a plug in all the videos. Let's have some business happen here. Just get the bow tie for him. Say it's the
Okay.
Ezekiel third bow tie. Everyone will think it's the football player. Ziz will win because he'll think those cool. You'll win because he'll get
I'll
some
get
extra
you, yeah.
views.
Get you a nice Dallas Cowboys bow
Yeah,
tie there.
exactly.
You put that on. Yeah.
It's win-win.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, the other thing, and I feel like this happens anytime there's ever a PoE update, and I've talked to Chris about it. I've talked to tons of different PoE players. Me and Co have talked about it. In the update video where Chris was talking with Ziggy D, the Q&A afterwards, someone asked him about the player trading, the trade system. And he mentioned that there would be potentially a in-game browser where people can just pull up the different trading websites, and that potentially may occur. Why are they so half-assed on this shit? Like, just go like.
Well,
Okay,
now
well,
hold on. A
there's
web
some good
browser
reasons for
has
that.
to run all the web code.
Hmm.
That has all sorts of issues associated with it. And then you have to keep it up to date with all the different language and changes of all those different plugins that those sites are using. So it is not as easy as just like drag and dropping a web browser into your
Oh
game.
no, I'm not saying the
They'd
difficulties
have to
in bringing that
basically
in.
they'd have to commit.
Yes.
Like if they were to do something like that, it would be like they'd have to have a whole team managing that kind of thing in a lot of cases.
I'm just saying, like, at that point, why not just build that into the game? Not like run a web browser.
Yeah.
Just fucking build it into the game. Build some sort
Right,
of
Put a
trading
trade hall in.
aspect. Yeah.
The problem is if you do it too easy, like remember, like it's a free-to-play game on PC. The amount of bots that could easily ruin that.
Yeah, but
That's huge.
I 100% understand. At the same time, like, there's got to be some. I mean, this is the same conversation we always have. There has to be some sense of, like, considering the quality of life of the player and the quality of life of the company, right? Like, there's got to be a balance there to be able to facilitate some sense of player trading. Because right now, it's like, you know what I look for and I hope for when trying to trade? I hope that I'm trading with a bot because it's fast.
Sure.
Fast. Oh yeah. Yep.
Because
I
I
agree.
don't have the human element there of like some asshole trying to scam me, which has happened 1,000 times on
Then
stream.
the opposite is Escape from Tarkov. Like where the
Right.
second something goes up, there is no possible chance of you being able to take it down the market if it's under a certain threshold. And
Yeah.
then just everything under a threshold gets bought and gets put up for 30 gold more, literally within the amount of time that you would be able to do one transaction. They're doing 500, and it's like the entire market can get sunk in a literal second for the best items.
Yeah.
And even more in PoE's case is think about the streamers that make builds popular. I mean, it's literally just as much as they watch those streams, and the second the streamer that they're watching, like a Mathil, finds out some cool synergy with an island, 5 keystrokes later, everything is bought off the auction house and put up for 50% higher. And
Yeah.
it just auto is getting bought every time it gets put up. So I mean, there's issues with that for sure. I can kind of see why they're
that's the
doing it.
thing,
I thought it was a
There's
liability
pros and
thing.
cons with both.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. It just the
Oh
play.
well, you can't.
What was
Sorry.
that?
You can't re-listen Tarkov anymore. But yeah, fair.
Oh,
I haven't played in a while.
And also, if you do change to an auction house, can you go back? Like, look at any change in games, right? If you give someone something, taking it away is almost impossible.
Yeah.
Just look at the community's reaction to Harvest, right?
Yeah. For me, the big thing, like my pipe dream trade experience, and I said this on stream the other day and had them poke holes in it, so I'm fully aware of all the different issues with it. But back in the day, there was a game called Age of Camelot, and you would have housing in Age of Camelot, and the only way to get items from other players in Age of Camelot was by going to their house, going to their hideout, and there's a board, a chest that is their for sale chest. You have the currency in your inventory. They have an item. You click the item. It takes the currency, puts it in their like stash thing, and you get the item, and then you leave. Like,
Vendor mode.
I would love that. Yeah, EQ had it.
But
Yeah, exactly.
That came
I
at
think that-
tax, right?
Yes, there was market tax. Well, at least in a queue.
Yeah, I think there was in Dark Age. There was some sort of market tax. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and like, how would you do that in PoE?
Well, it doesn't have to be there, right? Like
Yeah.
you still visit someone's hideout. You're just trading with a automated stash rather than a player. And you could also do the other thing to consider is like maybe you factor in PoE Plus and your shop stays
No,
there the
you
entire
can't
time
do
you're
that.
offline.
No, you can't. That's pay to win. You can't
Is
do
it
that.
pay to win? That's pay to stay online and
It
sell
is.
things.
No, that
well,
is
Because otherwise
at
you
that
can't
point,
have the
that-
entire
yes.
player base online at all times to get that shit. But I guess maybe
Well,
that's
you
not
would,
true now.
someone
So.
wouldn't have to be online to do it. But also at
Yeah.
that point, you're talking about giving them money to basically open up an in-game money revenue stream for you. That
Yeah.
would be a stretch. That would
Yep,
be a stretch.
I don't like
That
that.
is
Because
a
if you would, I mean, you'd literally be getting more money in game than people who are not paying money.
Like, I don't necessarily
Yeah,
dislike
you're right.
auction houses in games, but it's very hard to implement in PoE because we don't have a gold, in my
Right.
opinion.
That's a good
Like,
point
I
too. But
personally-
go ahead.
I personally, like, when the WoW, early on in the WoW auction house, there was no tax and stuff initially, I destroyed that stuff. It was, like, way easier to abuse the auction house very early on. And I did that. And you could do it very easily. And, like, that's, like, as a person, let alone as a bot. Like, bot technology
Yeah,
has
but-
come a lot further.
There's people that just play the economy game and abuse it today. So like, what's the difference?
Sure, okay, but it's about accessibility and how easy you're making it for them. If you can do it at an insane scale, you can do it so you could like ruin people's way of playing the game, really. Like, let's for
Yeah.
example say there's no tax, right? And you start buying up items that are mandatory to play a build and just relisting them ridiculously high. You
That already
can't
happens, though.
realistically do that. You can't realistically do that right now.
Maybe
It
not
really
at the start of
doesn't.
the league, but 2 weeks in, people do that with like every Mathold thing that he starts up.
No,
Not
not the
everyone.
same way. Not
Yeah.
the same way. Not to the extreme amount that it would happen and has seen happening in games.
Yeah, you might be right.
I
will
do
say, though-
like the idea. It's just a lot of downsides to it as well.
I really, even if the external factor stays exactly the same, I would love to see an in-game vendor type system. So
Same.
sure, don't put anything in the game, don't change anything about how it is, but being able to have it so people could come up and interact with my stash and just buy it out of my stash. Like you right click on someone else's stash, you do view items instead of access stash, and it's just like, cool, I want that. It's 3 chaos. I have 3 chaos on me. I click, that goes in there, it goes on my inventory. Don't have to make sure they're online.
No scamming.
Man, I gotta say,
Yeah.
dude, it is so frustrating
Yep.
to like find that perfect item after looking for like 15 minutes and the person just never responds. And it's just like
Yeah.
you're sitting there waiting, like, please respond to this whisper. It's the last item I need. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, by no
yeah.
means do I think the current system is good, right? I just it's a very, very big change to do auction
Totally.
house. Or
Yeah, and like it's not to say that they're not looking at changing stuff, right? Like they're aware of the issues, and they've commented on the stuff for years now at this point. And Chris has talked about how they enjoy play interaction and they want to see that type of stuff, regardless of if it's a bad interaction. They still want it to occur, type deal. So
Wait, another question out of my ignorance here. The console version has an auction board?
yeah, but it's not. You can't really like search. From what I understand, I haven't played the console one,
haven't
but
either.
to the best of my ability, you basically search for sort of like the idea of an item, and you'll get a selection. You can browse, but you don't get to like literally search like I want an item with 50 life, 13 strength, etc., and then search for that exact item.
Which is the exact thing we want to do for endgame builds. So that is
somewhat.
unfortunate. Okay, that wouldn't really.
Is there?
And also, it just sounds very punishing to play on console.
It does. Yeah, I don't. I've had a couple people say like, "Oh, I just killed like Uber Elder and stuff on console," but I don't see that often, and I don't think like player base wise, I think most of it is on PC. But there are console players, and I'm sure they're doing their best to support those services as best they can. But yeah, we'll see. I hope that we do have some change. I hope that we don't go into PoE 2 and it's the same exact system. Regardless, and it sounds like that won't be with all the stuff that they're looking to change. So
I hope so.
yeah.
I'm sure we'll find out more over the course of the year.
Yeah. Chris is so vocal, and the whole dev team is so vocal on anything that they want to do. I mean, they put out manifestos every 3 months of things that they're changing for the patch, things that they're thinking about in the future. They do the Q&As with Ziggy. Like the conversation is so out there and public that I'm sure that we'll be talking about the whatever changes to the trading system in 6 months or a year from now for sure.
Oh yeah,
It just has to happen. So let's talk about the new league on Friday because we haven't even done that. We've just been talking about the PoE
Sure.
thing. PoE 2.
Meanwhile, Zeke's like, oh. You're
God
doing
damn
great,
it, don't
dude.
feed into that, Co. Don't
Yeah.
feed into that.
I don't mention it for a
All
reason.
3 of your goddamn cats are like, oh, Zeke's asleep. Oh, poor Zeke's like, I
Yeah.
am listening and
Okay.
I am engaged.
I don't
like
feed
nerds
into it for that
talking
reason.
about
For the
nerd
record,
stuff.
I was going to add in there. You're being so patient, and we appreciate it. Thank you. You're doing awesome. I love that. I
Hey,
love
listen,
the nods
you
every
guys-
so often. Like it's
You
great.
guys just sit there while I babble about indies, like rare and obscure indie games that you like never heard of. So like, it's fine. It's give and take. It's all good.
Yeah.
I'll chime in with some color commentary every once in a while. I'll be
And he's asking great
the
questions.
Fred Willard in Best of Show. Like Shih Tzu, huh? Don't want to say that too fast. Chime in.
Oh man.
Time to time.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
You're a trooper.
Indeed. It's how it goes with these shows.
Yeah.
Ultimatum. Ziz.
I'm so excited for Ritual too. I mean, Ultimatum.
It really
And
is Ritual. Too, in a lot of ways.
honestly, I had very, very low expectations for this because at least for the way I enjoy playing the game, I feel like PoE is very like goodly, shitly, goodly, shitly, goodly, shitly.
Yeah.
And honestly, this is exactly like the type of changes that I love in a game, right? They've reworked so many of the old mechanics. The new mechanic looks like super hype, risk versus reward. I'm gonna get so much more YouTube content because every time I die, I upload a video. So it's honestly, it sounds like they're doing good league, and I'm very excited for it.
Yeah. It looks like Ritual 2.0 is, I think, is a great way to describe this.
And they're keeping Ritual.
Yes, yeah. Ritual is also still in the league.
Yeah. I
to a
love
smaller
Ritual.
extent. I did too. I think Co as well. I think we all thought that league was
Loved it.
returned.
My
to
biggest
form.
league so far.
You definitely pushed the furthest in that one. What about the new skills? I know Co, you're obviously getting Ziz to make a tendril build. Do you think I've been burned once on a new skill, and I'm very wary of ever starting a league with a new skill now because of that. And so I don't know if I'll check out that stuff on first character.
Okay, so I have a very, very good rule I do for that, and that every time there's a new skill, I make sure that I add backup skills and tell players following my guide, hey, if you're trying out Crackling Lance, make sure you're also leveling an Arc Gem just in case the new skill is shit.
Mm.
And it's the same with Winter Orb when that was released. You could do Blade Vortex and level up a Blade Vortex gem at the same time. So in the case that Winter Orb was bad, you could just switch 1-to-1 or a very, very small respec. And I think that's very, very important when checking out a new gem that you have a backup plan. So for example, for like the tentacle now, the tentacle seal, I am gonna make sure that we have like backup ideas in the build guide because sometimes you don't really a skill might look really, really good on paper. Like Hex Blast looked really, really good on paper, and I had a lot of people said it wasn't the most fun they've ever had, even though it looked great in POB and like calculating the damage.
Yeah, the new skills are or whatever. I'm pretty interested in the gambling aspect of it. It was also interesting to see that they included so much of a focus on like grouping around the new content. Is that something that you're gonna check out at all, Ziz? Do you think you'll roll in there with the crew or sticking to solo at launch?
I'm tempted. I'm very, very torn right now. So I normally play in a league called Hardcore Solo Safa, and you're on your own. If you die, you lose your character. And for this one, I'm kind of like 70%, 80% in favor of going trade league. A friend of mine called Steelmage said he wouldn't be my friend anymore if I don't play in the same league as him. So there's a lot of pressure involved. So I might go back to trade. I sometimes do like league start events. I'm not doing one this time. So it's a good time to try it again. And I feel like a lot of things that I'm the most excited about, like exciting drops, chase items, they're making a push towards making drops and stuff more exciting again, which is why I like Trade League in the first place.
Yeah, Headhunter is now in the normal item pool. So
can you play hardcore Trade League? And would you do that? You can.
Yeah, so that's what I'm considering at the moment. And because of all the events we've been doing, and they are all in hardcore solo self-hunt to prevent people from being able to like cheat or get stuff from other players, it does force a lot of people to go hardcore solo self-hunt, regardless of whether that would be what they prefer the most. So a lot of us like that do play hardcore solo self-found have been playing around with the idea of like a hardcore trade league revival, because there's not that many people that play it.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll see. I think
Very cool.
we'll all be watching to see what's going on. Someone asked, did you actually talk about what the new league is? Not so much. Essentially, it is like we're saying Ritual 2.0. The previous league was Ritual. It's basically a giant circle. You go in there, kill all the mobs. The thing pops up and say, hey, do you want to continue going? Or do you want to take this item? If you continue going, you choose a modifier for the next pack. You kill the pack. You choose another modifier. You choose. Keep going. I think up to 10 in maps. So then at 10, there may or may not be a boss fight, which they kind of allude to / show in some of the videos. But it essentially just gets harder and harder and harder and harder, and then you will die. So
And the key word is gamba.
yeah, it's a gamble.
It's a gambling league. So as you go up and up and up in the tiers, you're getting more and more rewards with more and more challenges. So you can kind of really push your builds and see how far you can take them.
And this does sound like something. I think the only gripe I had with Ritual was that I felt like it was like almost perfect for my first character, but especially like on my second, third, or fourth character and doing tier 16s, it didn't scale as well as like some past league mechanics. This one looks like it will though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess I'm eager to see like what a tier 10 reward is, right? Like what does that item look like? Will be an interesting thing to see for sure.
I wonder how hard it's going to be. Like some league mechanics have been brutal at league start. I mean, Steel Mage often jokes about like he lets me beta test the content and see if Zizaran hasn't died, it's safe to do it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess in the hardcore community, is that an actual thing? Like you just wait and see who's going to dive in
100%.
first? Yeah.
100%. So for the whenever they introduced the Cyrus influenced conquerors, like or like the monsters would get empowered by Cyrus.
Yeah.
I actually waited. I didn't do a single one, and then I saw like 20, 30 people in top 50 died to them, and I was like, I'm gonna skip that. I'm gonna wait with this one. And they got nerfed. They got nerfed like 3 times, and it wasn't they were like doing anything wrong. They were just suddenly just like flicked out of existence, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not messing with that.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch the rip clips on the first 2 or 3 days of a new league on like the Reddit, because people are looking for that, right? So after I put in like a 10 or 11 hour session, I close stream, open up Reddit, and let's just watch some people die. That feels good. Anyways, I'm going to sleep. Another thing, and I don't know if they ever commented on this, so I'm curious to know if you saw any of it. I felt like last league they basically like upped the drop rate of Tabula. I feel like Tabula was everywhere in the first like 2 or 3 days, at least in trade, at least in my global was the only data point I have for that. Do you think that they were just like testing that to see if like people stuck around longer, if they got some like big items early, or
I think they always play around with stuff like that, and then they do always adjust like the divination card drop rates and unique drop rates. Sometimes the league mechanic gives you very, very good rewards early. They had the same thing in Heist, and they actually like nerfed it a little bit in Heist, because the first 10 levels of Heist gave so many unique items, and people were using that to farm a large amount of tabulas, which got fairly quickly nerfed.
Yeah.
I remember my first 20 minutes at Heist, people were like, go do Heist, you'll get a tabula. And it does like happen very often. The early league mechanic can be extremely rewarding.
Yeah, I had a lot more fun at the start of Ritual because of the drops that occurred. And like streamer RNG, sure, definitely a factor, obviously. But, getting like 2 tabulas before I hit maps was awesome to see, right? Like, and see that constantly linked in global chat. It harkens back to what you said earlier, is like people remember their first big item or their first 6 link or their first whatever.
Yeah.
And to get that stuff so early on the league is like, fuck yeah, this is a good league, right? Like it immediately shapes your thought around the game just because an item dropped that won't really impact your character after a certain point, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very hard balance because you want to make sure that the player has like a reason, something to improve for next league and a reason to go back. And you also want to make sure you have exciting drops. But then if you make them too easy, they don't mean as much. It's a very, very hard balance, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The headhunter being in the general pool. I'm curious to see like what that does for the league, right? Like if Chris already said that he had to fight like tooth and nail to get the headhunter to stay in there in its current shape, which is a big
Well,
discussion for a lot of
well,
hardcore players. But you say, well, what's your thought?
yeah.
What's your take on that?
Okay, so Chris Wilson literally just said Headhunter isn't nerfed. And I mean, I guess technically he's not wrong. The item itself hasn't changed.
Oh
However,
no.
However, so something that's really, really, well, almost mandatory with the way people interact and use Headhunter is that you do something called self-cursing with temp chains. So you basically inflict on yourself a negative curse, making yourself go slower, and more importantly, it makes buffs last longer. So with abusing this mechanic, you could make the Headhunter buff last 60 to 80 seconds. That's removed, basically.
Ah,
It's whenever you steal something called hexproof now, then well, you're literally immune to curses, and then the buffs are only gonna last like 20 seconds. So it has to be
an
nerfed.
indirect
It's
buff or an indirect nerf rather. Yeah.
indirect nerf,
Yeah.
but it's a very, very direct nerf, and it's only done to do that.
Is
So
that
that's
gonna
why a lot of
tank headhunter or just make it like a little bit less effective? Is it gonna still be
okay,
sought after, you think?
it's still going to be the best item in the game, right? It's still
Oh, okay.
very, very good, incredibly good. It's going to balance it out a little bit more
Hmm.
because there's been some leagues, Legion being the worst example, and they've obviously sorted that out. But you could go from, say, you were making 100 chaos an hour without a headhunter as an experienced player, it could take you to 500 or 1,000 chaos an hour with a headhunter. And I think it's always going to be that kind of item that really like levels up your gameplay. But it is a lot more balanced now, and I think people are still going to enjoy using it. There was also an actual very direct nerf to Headhunter, which is character size is now capped to 100% increased. So you're no longer going to see the souls of someone foot running around.
Yeah, that's fine though, right? Like
Yeah.
it got a little silly when you would like tune into a cute dog stream and he was literally you could see like his left leg as the entire screen. Right? Like,
Yep.
there's a lot there. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on there. Patch notes hit last night. Did you do your big patch review yet, Ziz? Are we gonna steal your
I
content?
did.
Okay, good.
I
Up on
did.
YouTube if you
Yeah.
want to watch the full
It
thing.
It is. I don't think we post the full thing. I did like a TLDR because sometimes people don't want to watch like 2 hours of somebody just reading and reacting to patch notes.
Yeah.
But I made like a TLDR of all the most important changes, and there's a lot of exciting things. Obviously, like there's a bit of a shakeup in builds, some defensive nerfs. Personally, very upset that Fortify hasn't been nerfed because that's like for those that play Path of Exile a lot and at the end game, especially in hardcore, that's like the largest defensive thing by a mile. And that's not nerfed. So and there's such a big disparity now. Whereas you have Fortify up here and any other defensive mechanic down here. So
Yeah.
at times.
What build wise? What I saw a lot of conversation amongst the hardcore folks that I follow on Twitter that it's another EK League starter. Like what is everyone going? Maybe I got that right. What's
So EQ, yeah. So like the slams, like Earthquake and Ground Slam in particular, with the like. So another thing they're doing this patch is buffing Vol skills, which is instead of costing like mana or life, you basically are using the souls of your dead enemies to cast a spell. So it's sort of like Path of Exile's version of like an ultimate in other skills. And Ground Slam has like a really really strong ultimate now, basically. So that looks very juicy, and there will be some meta change. There will still be a lot of people playing like Blade Blast will be really, really good. And
So did they
Ground
nerf that?
Slam. Blade Blast got nerfed, but not enough to make it bad. It's
Um,
still very, very good, especially the assassin version. So I think we're gonna have a lot of interesting builds, especially very much hoping for the new ones to be good, and it'll be interesting. I would have still wanted an even bigger shakeup, to be honest.
Yeah, I see that conversation a lot. Every 3 months is when people are just like, doing the same starter. Like,
Yeah.
like
The thing like Essence Train didn't get touched. And Essence Train, I've been making a video for it 9 leagues in a row or something. So yeah. And it's not like you have to play
ready
it,
to
right?
move on.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of just necessarily like not really skills being balanced or unbalanced, but just changing the meta up. Like pretty much everything that was bad last league is trash now, and everything that, or sorry, is good now, and everything that was good is trash now. Like just a nice reversal is really really fun and interesting in my opinion.
keeps the game fresh.
Yeah,
I think that for someone like yourself who's putting in that many hours, it definitely keeps the game fresh, right? For a passerby or player, maybe not so
yeah.
much.
Oh, of
So maybe
course.
they want to keep those like old faithfuls around with a large percentage of their player base playing.
Yeah,
But yeah, I see again both sides of it, and I think that
yeah,
they're
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of they're towing that line, riding that line rather well enough. We'll see if they do any like big shakeups.
Yeah. Either way, so I'm gonna try to do as many as like 8 league starters is the goal. With I'm gonna make sure we get yours out early, Cole. Don't worry. They're actually I think you're gonna like it. We've like hired one more guy to help with the league starter guys. They're gonna be like super advanced with loads of extra tips and stuff.
Awesome.
Nice.
I have faith. Blood tentacles, man. I got faith.
Who doesn't?
We'll see if it works.
Yeah,
We'll see if it
I
works.
just hope it works. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
What
nice.
was that one we were just? Was that Reap? Is that the name of the other ability? The one with the like
Yeah,
spinning
it's
scythe.
yeah, reap and exsanguinate.
Okay. Yeah. Are you making one of
Uh,
those, or are you just gonna let someone else do it?
yeah, 100% making one of each.
Okay.
100%. Yeah, reap is just better sweep.
Yeah.
Sweep's older brother with
Yeah.
and it's a spell.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Any other big changes you want to bring up about PoE? The patch notes obviously could be a
Um,
much longer discussion, but we'll leave that for the
yeah.
Bay class and for the experts. Uh, that's not for us.
Yeah, I mean there's new cool things coming. Like I think the biggest thing for me personally was the revisit of old mechanics. Which maybe as a developer you don't always feel as incentivized to do because people might not appreciate that compared to how exciting new content is. But at least for me, like all the reworks like Blight, Incursion, and Betrayal, especially the Betrayal change, which is already like it's probably the most complicated thing in the game, I would say. Where most times I'm just like, hey, yeah, wait with Betrayal until you're more experienced because it's very overwhelming. But they're making it slightly easier, slightly faster to unveil things, and increasing the power by a lot. Whereas, well, you like it'll be a higher level of the things you're directly unveiling than what you can even craft. So that could be a new avenue of like slightly better or maybe even chase items.
You got to take on the harvest stuff on where they're going or where they went with this. Have you obviously a big hot
Um,
topic for the PoE world?
so I'm kind of in both camps with Harvest because I actually love it and I think it's super fun, but it does take away a little bit from other mechanics because it is the only source of deterministic crafting we have, right? So it's so much more powerful than other mechanics. Um, And I think for me personally, the worst thing about Harvest is it massively destroys the gameplay loop. Because you're mapping, you're maybe at a good pace, doing a map every minute, every 3 minutes, whatever. Then you find a harvest. And you're like, you're stuck there for some players say they're stuck there for 20 minutes, right? And you're
Totally.
just like, what do I do with
Oh
this?
yeah.
If it's
Especially
even
if you
worse if
don't
you're
know what the
playing
stuff does. Oh my
exactly.
god,
And
man.
it's even worse if you're playing Trade League because, like, okay, I don't need this. Now I'm going to sell it and no one's replying. So now I'm stuck here even longer. It really, really interrupts the gameplay loop. And I think that's my biggest gripe with it. So honestly, for me, I'm kind of okay whatever they do with Harvest. And I do like that other things in the game are very exciting too. And Harvest can easily take away with that just by the sheer power. So I think the current implementation is going to be pretty okay, and they can like change more next league if they need to.
Yeah, I agree. It's a hard. There's so much stuff that they have to balance, both like from a gameplay perspective and like, you know, everything. It's every 3 months to like shake up the game as much as they do. It's tough. So I always think about that stuff with that in mind.
Yeah.
So the last question, not necessarily that much to do with the gameplay itself, but more around the community aspect. This past league was the first league that they have really done like big sponsored streams on patch date. From your perspective, as someone that like lives and breathes that directory, did you see a big influx of new players kind of after the normies left?
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. I think it's a really, really good initiative. Obviously the last league they sponsored a lot of like core Path of Exile streamers, which was like a nice like tipping their hat to us, I guess. And that was really cool. And they brought in so many like large variety streamers, which is huge, right? For those of us that play Path of Exile normally, because the people that do enjoy Path of Exile, they'll maybe come check us out later. So it's a really, really cool thing that for us when more people are checking out the game we love and play every day. So obviously the more of that happens, the better for us.
Yeah. It was I had a lot of fun. It was my first league of actually like quote trying to teach some of these new players, so like Gold Glove and Strip In and like that
Yeah.
audience jumping in the first time and they're like, all right, so what the fuck do I do? And then I'm like nervous, like, oh God, I hope I don't tell them the wrong fucking thing. Okay, let's do maybe you should do that. Check that. What do you have an idea? Like what type of build you want? Like that type of conversation was
Yeah.
fun for me and like a first time for me. And so the more people that are jumping into it because of these sponsored streams, I definitely saw a surplus amount of like new people.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely a lot of more people checking it out.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I think that is new for this that I haven't seen too much chatter about. I'm not sure if it will like be a huge deal. I know in other games it has been, but this idea of like a rev share platform is starting to finally come out for PoE. I think just full disclosure, I know Ziz has a store. I've got a store. Co, I think you may or may not have a store. I don't know where you settled on that. So you will or no?
I'm an investor in the platform.
Okay. Well, that doesn't mean you can't have a store. I guess
Yeah.
you are the store. I guess I guess we're sharing with you in some way. Yeah, if you're not sure what we're talking about or you want to see what we're talking about, it's like nexus.gg/Ziz will take you to Zizaran's store, where only armor is available right now as a rev share. I'm hoping that there are more options than that somewhere down the line. But if you look at like the Epic Game Store, obviously has done a fabulous job when it comes to having a creator code on anything that you grab in there, from V-Bucks to games itself to MTX within those games and all that stuff. So it's cool to see like GG go down that path, and I think that will only do better things for its content creators and hopefully like give streamers more of a reason to stick around longer than usual. If they have a giant audience, they jump in there, they start to see that people are going to their store, able to stick around and stream the game a little bit more. I think that's from a business standpoint, that's what GG is hoping to do. But
yeah, I think it's a great step in the right direction. Like obviously they've gotten like some negative feedback on like the current stuff because it is just armors.
Yeah.
But especially in the future, like imagine if you can buy like a Mathil cloak, a Zizaran logo on something, like there could be a lot of room for that as long as it doesn't like look
Actual
silly in the game.
cosmetics based around your channel. Like GGG works with streamers to design like a whole suit of armor. Then people can buy it piece by piece. Dude, that'd be awesome.
Exactly.
That would be awesome.
I think that is like the best step for the future of the Nexus store.
Yeah, I think it could be a big deal. One thing that I will say, I think I don't know if that was last week's show or what. What was that? Do your thing.
What idea did you have now?
Cat.
There you go. In-game pets, man.
You could buy Letho and have him follow you around. Oh my god.
See?
It'd be a big deal if you start getting streamer stuff like that.
I think it'd be huge. I mean, you see it in like Tarkov and stuff like that. I found like Takesha's mustache and Smoke's like balaclava and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really
sell
cool
for
stuff.
a lot of good money. It's great. I can buy more guns with them.
I remember when I played, I literally had an entire section of my stash to just stockpile Sacril's tea. Whenever I find it.
I haven't found that yet. It's amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff in there. The one thing I will say, it is what it is, but it has a bigger impact when you're looking at an armor pack and you see the $42 sign next to it instead of like X points. Because
Yes.
my brain doesn't, in MTX fashion, my brain doesn't do the math of like these points mean this amount of actual money because it's designed to not do that math. They make them not one to one. So like, yeah.
I
$42
do
for
think
a
that
piece of armor. Jesus.
a lot of those cosmetics make a lot more sense when you're using points as well, because you usually buy that with a supporter pack, right? So then you not only did you get an armor set, but you got like 600, 400 points that you can use on other stuff. And that makes it a lot more reasonable.
Yeah.
But it's kind of crazy though, because that definitely gives it like a more of a second step of engagement, because you buy the supporter pack and that's where your money goes, and then you just get all the currency, and it takes on this less monetary value in your head because it's like, oh, I just got that with a supporter pack. Oh yeah, I'll just drop 1,200 on this cool little aura effect. Why not?
Pretty
Right?
much.
Because what else am I going to do with
Pretty
it? Yeah, I know. And then you sit down and think about it. It's like, well, that was like $20.
I don't do that. I don't think about that. I can't think about that. When I spent that $500 on that pack, it's like, yeah, I bought some points. What it cost? I don't know. I got some points.
Yeah.
It's a
I got fun money. Yay, fun money.
Yeah, it's all Monopoly money. At least I try to make it. I don't want to think about the real number. That's it's rough. It's scary. Yeah, it's real
That's
bad.
something I can definitely relate to for sure.
Yeah.
Just looking at it like I had this conversation with my lady the other day. Like certain people look at stuff when they spend money on things. They're like, I could have bought blank. Like they look at it in terms of like items it could have purchased. I try to look at it like I like poker chips. I'm just like, it's just chips, plastic, man. It's like a check. It's just paper. Just a check with some pen marks on it. It's nothing. It's not real. It's not real.
Exactly.
In a weird way, it is one of the better ways to go through life is to not have anxiety about that stuff. If you're in a position to not have anxiety about that stuff, because
Somebody once told me that's why they do chips in casinos. It's because people will actually do more because it's not actual money. So in their mind, like it can help with the disassociation aspect.
Yep.
Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. The entire MTX world is designed after like a lot of what Vegas has already done, right? From a psychological perspective. So, yeah, that's when it gets scary, when you start to realize the fact that at these companies, they actually have like psychologists on staff to manipulate its player base into buying shit.
It's like mobile games where half the company makes the game and the other half figures out how to make it make a lot of money. That's about it.
You're laughing, but it's 100%.
Oh, it's
true.
absolutely true. Absolutely.
Yeah, it gets depending on what you consider that stuff to be. It can get dark when you look at that. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on. I think that's it in terms of the PoE stuff. So might be a good bookend to take a break, come back, and then talk other things. Because I guess there are other things than PoE, and I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't know.
Well, I just want to let you guys know that I got my taxes done.
Nice.
While you guys were
nice.
discussing PoE.
That's awesome.
I was engaged in listening, but I made sure to get all my my stuff itemized and everything like that. So
yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're ahead of me. They got delayed to May, so I just I can't be bothered for another one.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, did you look at the Dogecoin today, Zeke? Did you see the Doge price?
I
thought you bought in.
I memed in and then I memed right out. I was
really?
like, okay, I'm gonna have diamond hands for a month, and then the diamonds, they were just zirconium. No. Yeah.
It's
but that's I bought in and then I was like, all right, I lost 30%. I'm good. I'm out.
It spiked at 14 cents, currently at almost 13, 12.8. So it's spiking.
Actual cents or point cents?
Actual cents. Like
wow.
it spiked.
If you would have stuck with it, you'd be a millionaire right now. Or if I would have stuck with it, I'd be a millionaire.
Wait, you bought $1 million Doge? What the fuck?
No. I'm kidding.
Okay. I thought you were being serious. No, I was like, how much did you buy in for, buddy?
No, I bought in when it was like 0.08 cents or something like that.
Oh. Yeah, you would have made a couple bucks.
So it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyways,
Huge. I can't believe it. I can't believe it's
Well-
already at a penny. Crazy.
we'll see what happens. Let's not talk any more legal advice bullshit on here. Let's take a break before we get in trouble. And we'll come back and talk about. Oh fuck, we got Diablo 2 to talk about. Should we throw that into this segment? Otherwise, Zeke's just gonna be sitting there for another 30 minutes when we come back.
We should probably try to keep it like
Talk about-
condensed.
Yeah, okay.
Hold on, what
all
did
right,
focus area?
let's talk about Diablo
No, I
2
missed it. What
Remastered.
did-
Diablo,
2
remake.
yeah, that alpha.
We'll be quick. We'll be super quick.
Yes,
All right.
There's not much to talk about.
I agree. That technical alpha was from Friday to, I think, yesterday is when it closed up.
Yeah, I think it just closed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Diablo 2. It's a pretty looking Diablo 2. I'll pull up footage of it. Those are my quick thoughts.
I mean, the most impressive thing for me was clicking G. Like it
Yeah.
basically like would change between the old school Diablo 2 and the new engine. That is like it's like an overlay basically, and it just you really get to appreciate the new graphics and all the work they've done. It also changes like the audio, everything. It was trying things like the Ice Nova and the Shock Nova, and like the audio and everything. It's so much more crisp. It's just amazing. And obviously, like I think everyone has this, but if anyone, it's sort of similar. If somebody makes a movie of a book you really love, you're always scared that someone's gonna fuck it up, right? It's
Mhm.
kind of the same way with remakes. You're like a little bit scared that someone's gonna make it worse or less enjoyable than it was when you experienced it. But they've done so well. I was blown away. I had so much fun, and I just cannot wait for them to release like more, like, and to let us play all of it.
Co, what were your thoughts? Like, but I guess before we get your thoughts, where were you on the Diablo 2 fandom? Like, was it were you super into it as a kid or a teenager, I guess?
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played Diablo and Diablo 2, and I really liked it. I didn't do a lot of the like super online stuff, but I think a playthrough of pretty much all of them, and I had a good time with it. That being said, it'd been a long time since I played. So I really liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think that the new graphic engine is fantastic. We had long debates on whether it is a remaster or a remake. It's a remake. But no, it was good. It was really good. I'm enthusiastic. It's been long enough for me to where it's like I don't remember almost any of it. So it'll be fun to play it again, and I'm really looking forward to kind of going through there.
Yeah. For me, I couldn't shake the feeling the entire time that I was playing it of one, like I played this game as a kid and I was like, oh my God, this game's so expansive. Like there's so much going on. This is crazy. Like, all the unique items, all the set items, all the way the skills work, blah, blah, blah. And then as an adult having, however many hours I have in PoE, I couldn't shake the feeling of like, God, this game's fucking simple. Like there's really not much I have skills. I need to buy a lot of potions and I need to right click that one skill on these mobs and I'll be successful for the most part. Like and I'm not saying the game needs to be complex, but it is a weird thing for me to go back and play a game from 20x years ago and just realize how much games have changed. Like it was games these days are fucking crazy complex to what they used to be.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just it was eye-opening to see that type of stuff, and I couldn't shake that feeling the entire time that I was playing.
It's definitely very, very different, especially when you start comparing them to modern ARPGs and stuff. You just see like how much content we have in Path of Exile. Like Diablo 2 doesn't really have that much endgame, right? There's like the Uber Diablo and Uber Tristram and stuff like that. But other than that, there's not that much. But still, what Diablo 2 does really, really well is, in my opinion, it has the best like loot chase and stuff like that out of any game, because I feel it's very easy to mess up things like unique items, set items, and in Diablo 2, everything is pretty exciting. You have a combination of rune words to it's unique items with extra steps, but it's done in a really, really good way, in my opinion. And then you have like set items are usable. Rares are like very often best in slot. They're just hard to find good enough ones.
Mm.
And I think it just has such a great loot chase.
Yeah, I didn't get being that it was only 2 acts. I didn't really have the reminder that I think that loot chase was there. I got a leaf rune word. I was playing a firewall sork, and getting leaf was a pretty big power spike to see that, to get like +3 to all fire skills and all the other stuff that comes with it.
Yeah.
But I started out, funny enough, I started out as a charge bolt sork, kind of like what you're doing here, with static
Nice.
I did
strike.
too.
Yeah, static field, I should say, not strike.
We all did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me, that's what I remember playing, right? It was like that, or you play like a Thorn Paladin or something, you know, just to get through that first run before you could really start specking or respecking, because you get one per like clear on the difficulty.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it might have also just been simple because we only got the first 2 acts when there's going to be 5 on full release. So that might also be where I'm coming from. But
I mean, it is definitely a simpler game, though. I would agree.
yeah, not bad
I think
by any means. I had a great time playing it. It was, you know, I'd walk up to Deckard Cain and be like, this motherfucker, I remember exactly what he's about to say now. And he'd say the thing and I'd be like, look, Chad, he said the thing. That's so fucking cool. Moved on about my day.
Stay a while and listen.
Yeah, it's great. It's a good one. It will be ingrained in my soul for all of time.
yeah.
Because I played through Diablo 2 for the first time, like, on stream. Like, I don't know how long ago. It had to be like 5-6 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I was steadily going through, like, asking, like, what are the you know, games that I should have played, you know, by now, whatever. So I tried. I think I left Deckard to burn or something. Is that something you can do? Like, you can
Well,
leave him
I
in
feel
a
like you
cage
have
or
to
Sort of.
how do you get the cube? Does it drop somewhere if you don't get him?
I thought there's a main story.
I think I
quest
had to
rescue
go back and
Deckard
get him
bring back.
eventually.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you-
yeah.
okay.
You have to
Here-
eventually bring him into the main town because
Yeah.
that's how the
Oh,
quest
okay.
progresses.
Yeah,
You could play
Okay.
Diablo 3. That'll do it.
that's true. They did Cain dirty in D3.
Yeah.
It was a big issue when it came out. Still is today. That conversation actually popped up in my chat when I was streaming it. Was how bad they did Cain in D3. But
Yeah, that was sad. It was so weird because it's like, yeah, it's sad.
do you think that this remaster is going to be enough to be like to get
Remake.
people to remake whatever? Don't they call it? What is the actual name of this? D2 Resurrected. There, I'll just start calling it that, so there's no discussion.
a
D2
remake.
Resurrected.
Reskin.
Do you think that this was a big enough reminder of like, by the way, Diablo was a good game once upon a time? You should probably get ready for D4 because that's why this thing exists, right? That's why any of these games exist when
Sure.
they remake / remaster any of these old IP.
It's a double whammy.
I hope so.
It's a nostalgia punch to the face, so it's going to bring old fans back, which is good. And 2, it's branding. They want to get the Diablo name out there. They want people saying the word Diablo, and that will get people even more excited and wanting to know more about it. Oh, here's Diablo 2 Resurrected. What are they working on now? You know, and it just kind of like all feeds into the echo chamber of hype. So, yeah, I would say it's kind of both. It's
Yeah.
you think about how old the game is. This timing is obviously intentional. You know, so
Yeah, 100%.
and thankfully, one other thing to mention, by the way, I think I speak for a lot of people when I say we're worried about a Reforged again. So I think it's great now that we're done, where it's like, okay, this is actually pretty good. Like this works. This is good. This is certainly not
So-
a Reforged.
Yeah.
I was a
that's
little
nice.
bit less worried. less worried about that because the company that is like headlining it
true.
or like pushing the most on it is Vicarious Visions, which did the Crash Bandicoot remake and also the Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and they're sort of known for like really nailing remasters or remakes.
Which is great. Absolutely, that was a good selection for this, no question.
Yeah.
That feeling got squashed when I saw the BlizzCon. Maybe the only positive BlizzCon panel for me personally.
BlizzCon line.
Yeah, or BlizzCon line. Yeah, sorry, not BlizzCon. BlizzCon line when they did the Diablo 2 panel for sure.
Yeah.
They just seemed like they had a lot of. It was one of the first times in a while that I saw like real unbridled passion for what they were doing and what they were remastering / remaking. I'm gonna keep saying that for Go. So yeah, that's Diablo 2. Like it is Diablo. Do we get to see Ziz die here? Perfect. Let's end there. With Ziz ripping as he opened the door. It's all right, man.
And
It
try to
happens.
die less than I do.
It happens. It happens. That's how it goes. All right, let's take a break. We don't know when this game's coming out yet, right? They didn't put a.
This was just the
Best
technical
guess
alpha.
this year.
So.
Best
Yeah.
guess this year. Actually, there are 2 very, very extremely likely. So it's the 20-year anniversary of Lord of Destruction this summer. So that's very likely that they'll launch it then. The other most likely is this Christmas for increased sales.
Two good choices.
Summer is pretty barren right now in terms of game releases. And I think, PoE will have its expansion in July. So,
Yep, 16th of July is the next league.
yeah. So maybe a release around that time, knowing Blizzard. But, yeah. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back and talk about all the other stuff that's been happening in the world of video games because we spent an hour and 35 on one. That's how it goes
Awesome.
with PoE. We'll be
That
right
is
back.
We should just give the rest of the show to indies. Like
We could, yeah.
Zeke's been so patient.
I don't want to talk for another hour and a half by myself, please. No, thank you. I'm cool with being peppered in, just like little sprinkles of Zekel, little Zinkles. Just put me in there, little Zekels.
Love it. Love it.
I'm trademarking that. by the way.
Ezekiel's.
We're going to take a break, guys. We'll be...
That should be your channel points.
Oh, God.
Zekels?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm pretty good with my channel points being chatterbait.
But I want Zekels.
All right, we're going to talk about PoE more. Zeke's just talking too much.
Yeah. I've already said too much, and I've said 3 things the entire hour.
We'll be right back, guys. We're going to take a break. More Drop Frames coming up right after this.